Hello everyone, welcome to her.exe, presented by the Women in FOSS Community of IIT. I'm Bhagya.
And I'm Praneepa.
So in today's episode, we have Nuwini and Dilanka here with us.
Hello, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So, you've known each other for quite a while now, right? So, I think all of our listeners will be quite interested to find out how did you two meet?
Yeah. So we were both at University of Columbus School of Computing, and we were like doing a lot of extracurricular activities. So she was playing hockey, and I was playing hockey, and then she was also working at Women in Engineering affinity group at university. So I was also volunteering there, and then we both supported the Google Developer Group events those days, and then that's how I met her. Dilanka, you want to add anything?
Yeah, we engaged in many of the activities together.
So when it comes to hockey, was it like something that you guys did during school days also, or was it something that you all started during uni?
For me, I actually played hockey at school for quite some times. Then I joined the university team.
So for me, I started hockey at university while I was in my second year, and then I ended up being the vice captain, which is an achievement.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
That's something really cool.
Exactly, vice captain in uni as well. How did you manage your time doing sports and also doing such an mentally demanding degree as well?
Yeah, I think it was because there was a good support system around me. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
had like supportive parents, and then my uni colleagues were very supportive in terms of supporting with the assignments and then the lectures, which I missed because of the engaging with the extracurricular activities. And then also like we had like good people around us, which led me to balance both.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have some listeners here as well who do a lot of extracurriculars in uni. Like, what kind of advice do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I think it's all about your passion. Like you have to, if you have a will to pursue something, you can find time to do that. And it's best to have some people around you who will support that person, and
Yeah.
then you just keep on achieving your passion and then following through it. And then I think if you have the passion, you can find time. So that's what my advice.
But
Right.
it's not always easy, right? There are moments that you get overwhelmed and like it's very super stressful because there are assignments and then there's matches and everything that's going on. There are events. So how did you guys like actually manage?
Yeah. As you said, it was hard. So one of my experience was there was matches. So we had practices all 5 days. Sometimes in the morning we had fitness, and in the evening we had practices. So then again we had exams also, and our coach didn't give
Excuses, yeah.
to skip the practices. So there was a time I went to practices on an evening, and next day 9 o'clock we had exam also. It's hard, but like Nuwini said, we are passionate, so it's balancing, and yeah, it's obviously the passion we have.
And I
So,
think you have to enjoy what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's not just in uni, and when it comes to work life also, it's almost the same thing, right? Because you have to manage your personal life and then you have your professional life on the other side. So how's that going for you guys?
Yeah, so I would say I'm a full time, 5 days, an employee in a company, but then during the weekend, so I engage with a lot of other extracurricular activities. So sometimes, like people ask, are you doing extracurricular activity full time? And are you doing a part time job? But I think being busy keeps me motivated, and then because I think not everyone can do work and extracurricular activities both in parallel unless
Yeah.
you are you have practiced good multitasking, and then you have like people around you who supports you, and then you have the passion. So I think it's hard. I won't say it's easy, but it's pretty hard. But there are 24 hours in your clock, so you can obviously use that time to balance in between both.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you mentioned about practicing time management, I think that's really important for uni students, because on one hand, when they're doing extracurriculars, they're following their passion, they're having fun, but on the other hand, they're also learning valuable skills about like managing their time and their life basically, right? So I'm sure your experiences doing all those stuff in uni and in school definitely helped in your work life as well. Are there any specific moments that you would like to mention where you got like a lot of help from your past experiences in uni?
Yeah. So one thing is actually while I was at fourth year and doing my final year research, so we had a group research, and then we had like three members, myself, and then another girl, and then another boy. So myself was the vice captain, the other girl was the captain,
Of the
and
hockey
then
team?
yeah, for the
Oh.
University of Colombo hockey team, and then the guy was left alone.
Uh-huh.
So both of us were at the university ground playing hockey, and then he had to take on the research work in
Oh.
parallel. So whenever we had time, we supported him, but I would still give credit for him to like making us through the final year research,
Yeah.
because we were mostly at the university grounds by then. So that is one of the moments like I would still tell anyone, like that's why I always say you have to have good people around you to support you.
Exactly.
Dilanka, you?
Yeah. So for me, one of the thing is like in our degree program, we have the general degree and the special degree for. So we both did Bachelor of Science in Information Systems. So there are only 20 people are going for the
The fourth year specialization.
honors degree. So my goal was to actually I started playing hockey at university was at second year. So we have a program in university games as slug. So I couldn't play slug because it was happening on my first year. So I had the chance to participate in the fourth year. So my aim was to play hockey. So that's why I actually went for the fourth year. It was hard. It was really hard, but my goal was that. So it's
Yeah.
passion actually, and it's fun. And I would say in the university life that going to the hockey team is like the most comfortable area of us to relax. It's our mindset changes when we go there from the university to the ground.
Yes.
So it's fun.
It's like
actually.
a stress reliever for you.
Yes, it's actually not, but
It's another kind of stress.
yeah, but it's fun. And
Yeah.
I would say for the undergraduates, just enjoy your life, because when you're going to the industry, it's really busy and time management is really hard. So enjoy your university life and do all the stuff you can. I always tell my cousins also, just don't stick to your education, just do extracurricular activities, volunteer, just do some sports, because that time is really fun and memorable.
Right.
And a fun fact, like when we had like Sunday full day practices, so when we get the lunchtime until we get like lunch delivered, so what we used to do was like go through the cooking recipes in Instagram, scrolling through.
Just while until we get the food, we started watching the videos. of food making. Because we had practices from
Seven to
to until like
5 or 6.
Yeah, in the evening. So we had a lot of time. It was fun.
And also about the point that you mentioned that you have to have fun in your uni life, because it's going to be much harder when you get out of uni. So now that you are out of uni, how's life now?
Yeah, so for me, I think it's different, and so we've
Obviously.
adapted to a professional working environment when compared with the university life. And then there are a lot of different people that we meet, and then some people do other work, but some people are full-time working on their day-to-day work. But I think it's properly different, and then you have to have that skill set to be a professional. And then because if you, and one thing that I would still tell the undergraduates who are listening to this is basically in university life you can make mistakes anytime, and any amount of mistakes that you can make. But when you get into the professional life, you can, while you are at internship, you can make any mistakes. They won't fire you. But when you pass through the internship and then you properly get designated, and then you've been assigned work, so if you make mistakes multiple times, that will be a black mark on your profile. So you have to learn by mistakes and then make sure that you won't repeat that again. So that is one of the things which is different to undergraduate life and then the professional life from one aspect that I have experienced.
The consequences are much more serious.
Yes.
So from my end also, I have seen now we are seniors, so we have seen interns coming from university, and I think from our times, the difference is after COVID. Like like when I just passed out, COVID came and people went online.
Yeah.
So
So the whole culture, work
Yes.
life changed.
in university also, you guys won't meet now. It's the current situation is okay, but when we see the new interns who are passing out of universities, so one advice, as Nuwini said, I would say the professional life is different, like how you behave in the university and at office is different. Like it's casual actually. When it comes to IT industry, it's casual, but you have to keep in mind this is a professional life and you should be accountable for what you do, be responsible. So that is one of the advice I want to take, because we see people coming freshly graduate.
Yeah.
There's a quite difference.
So Dilanka, you're working in business analysis,
Yes.
right? So I'm sure our listeners here would like to know what exactly goes on in that area of the industry.
Because IT industry, when it comes to the IT industry, there are different avenues that you can pursue. So what does a BA actually do?
Yes. So I would say, so when it comes to a computer science degree or IT degree, what we tend to understand at a glance was we have to be a software engineer. But it's not, as you said, there are different avenues. Like, so I selected the path BA because I actually did commerce for my A-levels. And first of all, BA is a career anyone can join. It not limited to a IT degree or computer science one.
Oh.
You can come from management degrees as well. So but when it comes to the IT industry BAs, you have some practices and knowledge specifically for that software development life cycle. So if you have done computer science or an information system or IT related degree, it's a plus point, because it is some for some extent it is taught in our degree as well. So if you are comparing two person with a IT degree and a management degree, obviously IT person will get plus. So it's so when it comes to the scope of a business analyst career, it's mainly like when it comes to IT, we are giving a product or a service to a customer through a application or website or something. So there is always three parties, I would say two parties, mainly the client who is asking for the solution, but they won't be the end users, and the other one is a vendor who's supplying the solution for that. So business analyst is the middleman who connect those two parties.
Oh, right.
So that is in a nutshell what a business analyst do. So
So basically you work affiliated to a software company, or like, so there's the team that builds the software, right? So there's the client and the team that builds the software, so you're somewhere in the middle.
But I'm part of my let's say vendor company. It's a software company. I'm the part of the software company, so I'm facing the client on behalf of my team. Likewise.
Right.
Because when it comes to building a product or a solution, first thing is you need to understand what the client needs, what is their requirements. So a BA is the person who goes to the client and understand their requirements and get back to your team, the technical team, which consists of all the software engineers, QAs, user experience design, UI design, the whole team, and BA is a person who come to team and tell, okay, this is what the client want, so we need to plan a solution and give the client a good solution.
Yeah. See, it seems like it's a job where it's very much centered around communication, like effective communication.
Exactly.
So what kind of skills do you think a BA should have?
Yeah. Most important skill I would say is the critical thinking, and because when you go to a client, they tell the requirement in their own words, like you have
Right.
to analyze it and identify the real requirement.
Yeah.
And sometimes what they need is not what they actually say.
Exactly. Maybe you have seen the picture where
We have.
Yeah,
have.
there's
That's
memes
it.
going around.
So one of the skill, as I said, is analytical thinking or critical thinking, then problem solving skills, because sometimes when we go to the client, we have to on the spot give the solution, like,
Okay, so
okay,
this is
we
what
can-
we can
yeah,
actually do for you.
and the communication skills, negotiation skills, because sometimes if it's a product company, so there are things what we can offer them out of the box or the off the shelf, and so negotiation skill is a must. Like we have
Yeah.
to convince the client, okay, this is what suits you. There
And
are
that's
different
not easy.
clients in the industry, yeah. So I would say those are the main skills when it comes to client facing BA. So other than that, when it's come to the team, so you are the person who have the full knowledge of the requirement, so you are the person who communicate into your team, this is what the requirement, this is what the solution we are proposing, and developer, please develop this. So so you need obviously now things are changing, the documentations are less when it comes to agile. So but still you need to document the user stories, the use cases when it comes to requirements. So yeah, documentation skills are must. And you have different graphs, you have to draw to interpret the requirement, UML likewise. Yeah, those are the other skills as well.
Okay. So it seems like it's not really an entry level job, right? So is there a specific path or a career path that you went through before you got where you are?
Actually, I started my career as an intern BA. So I would say not all the things are taught in the university. I think it's common for all the other.
Yeah, the
Yes.
entire tech industry,
Yes.
basically.
You have to like self-study as well, and also learn
by
by
experience, yeah.
experience, I would say. Yeah, but you need to have a foundation, so you need to self-study and find it out. And you can, at internship, you can get help from your supervisors. They are super helpful when it comes to interns. So yeah, I think I want to say during the internship, just learn as much as you can, because it's a place, as Nuwini said, where you can make mistakes.
And
but
not have big
y-
consequences.
Yeah, but afterwards, when you get promoted, not an intern anymore, so you should minimize the mistakes.
Yeah.
So get the time to do your homeworks and everything during the internships. Yeah.
So yeah, moving to Nuwini a little bit. So you're a project manager, right? So what do you do? What's your work life like?
Right, so project manager is typically the most hated person in a team.
Yes, I would agree.
So the day-to-day life looks like, so basically I handle like a couple of clients, and then sometimes I had to work around the clock, and then sometimes there are days that you can put some effort into your personal life, but there are days that you have to work at least like 20 or that many hours if you have
Oh,
a deadline
really?
coming up or so that like. So they know really well, because even when we work together in WTM or GDG, like I read the chat at the end of the day and start replying to what
She's reading.
replying to whatever the things that I have missed. So so in day to day, like it's all about like keeping your client happy, and then be the person, like even if your team is not performing well, and then but you have a deadline coming up, you have to keep the client happy and keep them
Yeah.
informed, like this is what is happening around now, but don't worry, we'll deliver what you are up to, likewise. So it's mostly client handling piece, I would say, to keep the client happy.
Yeah.
And then as well as in the other side, like you have to be the leader for your team, and then keep the team motivated, and then get the rhythm going, and then support them whenever they encounter a roadblock.
Yeah.
And then also at the same time reporting to the internal management team on what's happening around, and what support that we need from them to deliver things online, so on time. So that's what the day to day
Sounds
job
very
is.
demanding though.
Yeah.
How do you balance your work life?
So for me, I would say I'm kind of a workaholic.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I like to be busy, and then so because right now, so I have the I mean I have my parents supporting me, and then so I have time for my work.
Yeah.
So I don't need to do any household work, or I don't need to do any other keeping up the other parties up. So so it's just I have time for the work mostly. So yeah, I think it's all about like balancing both, and I think that's one of the key skills anyone would need to how do you balance both work and life. And then
Definitely.
I go on trips with my friends whenever needed, and then I like to travel to countries a lot, and then I find time, and then since people know like I work, so they just give me the opportunity to take a break when required as well. So
Okay.
that's how I manage. Yeah.
Right. So you like to travel.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite travel spot?
Right. So I would say still it's depend.
It depends on your
it
mood.
depends on
Yeah.
the mood, but as well
And
as
the
like
people that you
yeah,
go
and the
there with.
people,
Oh,
and then
yeah,
the
definitely.
purpose I'm visiting there.
Yeah.
So it depends, but I would say I still love Bali, Indonesia. So because there are a lot of places to visit, and then it's different, and then yeah.
What about you, Dilanka?
Yeah, actually, I like to be at beach.
Uh-huh.
I really like, and yeah, I also like to travel to other countries as well. Just trying to explore countries. I also have visited Bali, and yeah, please go. It's so cheap, and
Yeah.
back then it was so cheap.
Yeah.
And there are so many places to visit, and you can learn like, okay, Sri Lanka can promote their much more
yeah.
than
Yeah.
what we do actually. Yeah, that's a different topic.
Yeah.
That's a different topic for a
Yeah.
different day.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you, at your university life, just go on trips as well. When I was doing my research, so we used to go to our supervisor daily. So what he does is he shows us the trips he went
Oh.
on his PhD days and motivates us. So sometimes what our update is like, sir, we couldn't do anything. We went on trip. I think we both had the same supervisor for the research.
Yeah.
It was fun. So yeah, please enjoy your undergraduate life.
And the fun fact is, so I've so far traveled to 6 countries,
Okay.
and out of that 6, 5 were sponsored by someone to attend an event or to speak at
Okay.
somewhere or to like gather with people, and then only one trip was on my personal
Okay.
expense. So yeah, if you do like
That's why you should
extracurricular-
be a project manager.
and then if you do a lot of curricular activities, yeah, of course you get chances to explore the world, and that is one of the perks of engaging with other work as
Exactly.
an advice to undergraduates who are listening to.
Yeah, not only PMs, I think she went through volunteering
Yes,
for
yes.
other
Yeah,
organizations.
yeah. Not from the from work life. I think I've gone only to one country, but rest of everything was like from volunteering, engaging in extracurricular activities.
Yeah, I think our listeners should take notes.
Yeah,
It's not just the academics, guys.
Yeah. Everyone who likes to travel is just writing down.
So when it comes to project management, it is not sort of an entry-level job, right? So how did you get there?
Yeah. So there are different paths that people can take, but for mostly undergraduates, so I would suggest, and I've experienced, so I joined to the project management path as a management trainee. And then I was excelling in it, and then gradually became a project manager. So that path is for any undergraduate. They can start as a management trainee or an intern project management. So likewise, that path they can take and then gradually excel in that path. And the other path is actually like people get into other streams like business analysis or like financial something, accounting or something, and then there are people software developers, and then quality assurance testers. So likewise, if they excel in that path, and then if you gather the required experience, like let's say 5+ experience in that particular domain, and then if they want to switch career into project management, that's an also option. So like simply in summary, 2 paths. You can start as a management trainee or intern and go into the project management path, and then if not, you can start as a developer or any other stream, and then you can do a career switch to the project management. So those 2 options are available right now, and then I followed the management trainee path.
Right.
So what are the challenges that you encounter on a daily basis? Because it's not easy to balance both your team and the client to keep both of them happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to clients, I feel like something that that you both have in common is you both engage with the clients in your different areas of in your job, right? So like I think it would be really interesting to know like how do you manage different types of clients?
Yeah. So if I talk about myself, like sometimes you have to be the favorite person of the client. So I
have to butter up the client.
Yeah, I have managed clients like, and then they specifically come, and when a new project comes up, they specifically come and say, hey, I want Nuwini to run this project. Likewise, like you have to build that relationship with the client, and then how you do is basically it's not just work. Like you have to get in contact with them, and then like you have to showcase even a small LinkedIn post that you post on which you are doing extracurricular activities. I've seen like people, my clients reacting to those and saying good luck or congratulations. And then I had one manager where when I post a WhatsApp status, he would reply to that. He replied to my status, and then it's all about like building that relationship, and then
these
keep that
things
going, and then
actually makes you happy.
Yeah, and then like build the trust, because they trust on you for something, and then you have to give that trust back. So trust, and then getting engaged with them, and then like maintain that integrity, because if you like one time if you get caught as you lie to your client, so there are instances that they don't trust you anymore, and then they say like you lied to me that day, and then so how I'm supposed to trust you on this one? Like you said you will deliver this on this date, but then you didn't, and then how I can trust that you will deliver this on the next milestone?
Right.
So likewise, it's different, and then it's a different art how
Yeah,
you
yeah.
handle clients, and then the challenges that you face, and then at the same time when they come, I work with like foreign clients, so when they come back to Sri Lanka, like I go around with them for sightseeing.
Uh-huh.
So those relationship building tasks, and then like keeping them happy is an art, I would
Yeah,
say.
it's definitely an art. It's like, what about you, Dilanka?
Yeah. From business analyst, we've also, but it's different from PM.
Uh-huh.
So we are mostly engaging with the client with the requirements. So we have to make uh, the client happy as well as the team happy as well, because we can't promise something we can't do to the client and then come to our team, now you have to do this. We can't do
Yes.
that. So for that we have to promise what we can deliver to the client, because from our side also we have to make the client happy, uh, like happy from what we can give based on the timeline, based on the budgets, likewise. uh, and our team as well, because they also have a timeline where the project needs to be delivered. Then come the project manager also. So when it's come to a BA and a project manager, both we have to like promise the client. Sometimes we can do what they actually are asking for, but because of other constraints, the timelines, the budgets, likewise, there are some restrictions. Um, so we have to face both these sides and make both the sides happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I say like we go and promise the client the sun and moon, and then that's why I say we are the most hated person in the team, because we go and tell client we'll deliver this, and then we come back to the team and say, hey guys, look, we have delivered this today.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
We need this on this date.
Yeah.
And people start working 24 hours.
So you said that you most of the times that you all have to work with the most minimum requirements or minimum resources. So how do you guys manage that? Any tactics or like any methodologies that you will use?
Yeah, in terms of resource management, I would say one tactic would be to have like cross-functional teams where it doesn't necessarily mean like everyone has to know development, everyone has to know business analysis, everyone has to know QA. So it means that if one person from your team is absent, like, or if one person from your team needs an urgent leave, like, there should be someone who can at least try and cover up work for that person until he comes back to work. So that is one of the tactics that we use, and as well as like we plan in advance. We take the holidays, and then we take their off days, and then when they'll be in holidays, so we take their inputs in advance and then plan for the reality. Otherwise, just putting things on the paper. And then also, I think you should be the best friend of the team, and then they would
Definitely.
come to you and then seek for your support, and then they would expose themselves to you in terms of the support that they required. And then yeah, so those are the tactics that I use mainly in terms of dealing with the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to add on to that, from my experience, yeah, sometimes when we go to the client and the next person is PM, please help us. Like sometimes it's hard to convince the client, so PM is the one who convenes on behalf of us with the scopes, timelines, deliveries, and all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So I guess that's where your jobs differ from one another, right? So
Yeah.
even though you're both engaging with the client, you have different requirements in your job roles, right?
Yes.
So do you have any horror stories in your work life that turned into a valuable lesson, that you learned something out of it at the end of the day when you came out of that horror story situation?
Yeah, so for me, actually, there's a recent incident where we were just doing a migration, and then there were a lot of failures, and then at some point the at some point from the leadership team, one representative came and then spoke to me and said, hey guys, hey look, now we are failing multiple times and then we have to do this in a different way. And then but that different way was not something that as a team we were agreeing upon to. So like I had to go in front of him and say no to what he was suggesting, which was, I don't know, like how he took it, but I had to
It's
stand
not
up.
easy
Yeah,
to
I had
stand
to
up
stand
to
up for my team and then say
Right.
no to what he was suggesting.
Yeah.
Like
But it's part of your job, right? So
yeah,
you have
and
to
then I think that's where your role comes in, and then your decision making ability, and then being the favorite of your team. So you have to have the skill of saying no. It's not just because for the professional work, but
I think
even
that is something that most of us struggle with.
Yes.
True, I'll agree.
So you have to learn how to say no, and then how to convince them, and then how to get through it. So that is one of the horror stories for me, because it was not easy for me to go and say no in front of that person, him being the head of the area that I was working with. But I had the courage, and then I went and said no, and then finally we ended up doing what we wanted to do.
So,
What about you,
yeah.
Dilanka?
So I have this experience, so I'm engaging in pre-sales activities as well. So there was a time where I had to create a proposal for what the solution we are suggesting for the client. And it's the timeline. I had to work like more than 24 hours straight. Yes, you have to sometime compromise. I think Nuwini also do those stuff when it's come to migration and all. So I had to work more than 24 hours, and it was really hard to process also. But then again, when it's come to timeline, you need to deliver as well. But then again, happy part was that we got the project, we onboarded a new client. That was one of the best achievement. And also in that process, we were scolded by the client also. But now he's like one of the best friend of us. That was fun, and
I think you really need to learn how to take things in stride as well. Yeah.
You need to, when it comes to career, don't take anything personal. When it's come to problems, just keep the person out of that problem and just look at it. Then it's a different view.
Yeah, I think that would be really important for our viewers, our listeners as well. So another thing, do you have any challenges that you think are specific to women in the industry?
Yeah, so one thing is, what I've seen is like women really don't promote themselves, right? So I've seen men who are promoting themselves more than women, and it's also a fact that has been proved by by a different entity. So I think people, like I've seen people when dealing with women, like even in my workplace, they when they talk with me, they say like, I've still not done this certification, I've still not handled multiple projects, but so should I apply for this promotion? So that's the question they ask. But men, like, they just put down their promotion, like they just request their promotion even without thinking about it. So it's just that they need to understand that they have some value within themselves, and then promote themselves to better opportunities in the workplace. So that's one of the things that I would suggest people to do, like more self promotion over just hiding under a small
so you feel like women have more of a imposter syndrome kind of thing when it comes to their abilities, right? More than men.
Yeah, and like they just think if they talk about their accomplishments, they are just bragging.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a cultural aspect to that as well
Yes.
for women.
yeah, that's why we need to break that and then
Exactly.
make ourselves comfortable to
Yes.
do self promotion much and more,
And
because that's where opportunities are being opened for you.
yeah, to actually believe in yourselves and what you are capable of.
Yeah.
So you're both part of Women Tech Makers, right? And that
How did you guys actually get into WTM?
Yeah, so during our university days, like there was this organization GDG Sri Lanka, which was founded by our university senior, alumni. So there were so many events going on back then.
This was pre-COVID.
Yes.
Oh.
So we were so excited. There was a big events, Google I/O, Fest, and it's really hard to get a
And then
chance to
swags are
attend.
going
Yeah.
around.
And it was a different experience back then before COVID. So we were so much enthusiastic to participate on those events. Some were overnight and those events were amazing. And
So did you guys volunteer in those events?
yeah, I was just come to that point. So after some times, we got the opportunity to volunteer for the community GDG Sri Lanka as well as Women Techmakers Sri Lanka. So we both volunteered so many activities organized by those two organizations, and gradually we became co-leads of Women Techmakers Sri Lanka. And yeah, finally we are here as the Women Techmakers ambassadors.
All right. So for our listeners, shall we just mention what Women Techmakers actually do?
Yeah. So it's an organization or program by Google, affiliated with Google, goes as Women Techmakers, and then they just started as a how they started is really interesting. So it was just started in 2012, and then maybe everyone knows what Google I/O right now.
Yes.
So they just had a like couple of women from tech industry got together before the night of Google I/O back then in 2012.
Okay.
And then they just thought we'll just execute a program like this. So that's how it started. And then after that, so they were what Women Tech Makers do is basically they just provide you the resources for the women to excel in the technical world, and then they just provide you the visibility, like if you do something and if you accomplish something, like you get the visibility within that group. And then also like they support you in terms of uplifting you in your professional and personal careers or life. So that's what Women Tech Makers do. And then how they do that is basically they just host like a lot of events, and then there are multiple resources being available online, which anyone can sign up and get into. So likewise, like it's a program which supports women to grow their personal and professional life, and provide visibility to you if you are excelling in something.
Go ahead.
For someone who wants to become, like, to get into WTM or like become an ambassador, how can they actually apply to that?
Yeah, so anyone can become a Women Tech Makers member. So if you just Google Women Tech Makers, so a page will come up, and then they can sign up for the membership. And then in terms of Women Tech Makers Sri Lanka, because we have a chapter here coming affiliated to the Women Tech Makers Global Program, so we usually promote ambassadorship for a person who volunteers first in the Women Tech Makers. So we do call for volunteers to the GDG as well as Women Tech Makers Sri Lanka, and then they can sign up to volunteer in our events. And then gradually we encourage them to apply for ambassadorship if we see some
something
alpha
special in
features,
them. Yeah.
alpha features in them, and then we ask them to apply for and we recommend them to, provide a recommendation to Google team for them to apply and then get into the ambassadorship.
Right.
So that's how anyone can join us.
So I'm pretty sure we have a lot of listeners who would be interested in volunteering to women tech makers. I feel like GDG Sri Lanka, those kind of events they have a lot of visibility. So I think it's time for women tech makers to shine as well. I think it's really important what you guys do in the organization. So yeah, if you guys, anyone listening wants to join the organization, make sure to join as a volunteer. I guess that's the starting point, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Alright, so when it comes to Women Tech Makers program, from my perspective, so it's I think a great program which help women in technology, that inspire and like to give something back to the community. I think that's the main idea of all the volunteering and all the communities, because we are always volunteer. So if you want to give something back to the communities from Women in Tech, so this is a great program, and we actually have more than 1,000 ambassadors worldwide, and we have monthly global calls, and it's really nice to meet other ambassadors from different countries, different areas. So we have access to so many resources, Google resources, to get inspired from them, as well as give knowledge to the community as well. So I think this is a great program where we can engage with Google and other women in tech around the globe, and give something back to the community.
And just a fun fact, like, so we recently had our global community call, and then in the agenda there was an item said announcement, and then we just thought, oh, since the year is ending, like we are getting the yearly swag, annual swag to ourselves, because they usually give an annual swag for the work that you do, because it's volunteering. And then when the announcement came up, there's a picture came, like usually the head of women tech, global lead of women tech makers run the call. So the announcement was that she's expecting a baby. So which was like very emotional, and then which was really bonding, because like it shows like how much she's bonded to us and how much we are bonded to her, like. And then everyone was congratulating her, and then she was passing the baton to another person to run until she comes back from maternity leave. So like we are that close, and then even like both of us, we can share anything, and then like we are like
so
family.
Sweet. That's so special, because obviously motherhood is something that's extra special to women, and as is an organization centered around women in the industry, it's so sweet that you guys bond over things like that.